Kלים Perek Yud Aleph, Mishnah Zion. And we move on with different types of kli matchas. But the first case of this Mishnah is actually not a kli matchas. It's actually a kli made out of bone, a kli etzem. Keren agula temeya upeshuta tohira. Keren is an instrument. It's a type of flute or a bugle, a chatzotzres. And the Mishnah says if it's agula, if it's not straight, if it's curved, then it's temeya. Pshuta, if it's straight, it's flat, tohira. First of all, we're not dealing with mateches. The reason why this Mishnah is here, because later on in the Mishnah we're going to add a piece of metal to the keren. We're dealing with klei etzem here. Etzem has the same din as eitz, and therefore the din is it must have a base kibble, just like eitz must have, and not only must it have a base kibble, the base kibble must be osui lekabel boy. The purpose of the kibble must be so that one puts things inside it. And if it's a round bugle, then it has a base kibble, and obviously it's osui lekabel. And I'm assuming, it doesn't actually say it anywhere in the Mefarshim, that it's osui lekabel because maybe this keren is sometimes used as some sort of bottle or a jar. Therefore, it's a kli etzem with a base kibble, and therefore it's mekabel tumah. Pshuta tohira, if it's a straightforward keren made out of bone, it's tohir because it hasn't got a base kibble. Now, Baal Tanura alludes to a sugya in Shabbos about being machazir, a keren agula b'Shabbos. He says chayv chatos mash enke b'pshuta. The Mefarshim say this has actually not to do with our Mishnah. That's talking about a kli matches, a kli mateches. And the Mishnah carries on. If, however, this keren peshuta, which under the rules of etzem is not able to be mekabel tumah because it has no base kibble, if the mitzupis is the mouthpiece. It doesn't mean a tzipui, it means it's a mouthpiece. It's called, Baal Tanura says, as the keren is wider at the other end, and where you put your mouth, it's narrow. So where it's squashed, and the word omdim tzufufim, as in omdim tzufufim, mitzupis means the squashed part. If that's made of metal, then it's temeya. Here we have a keli which has now got two components, two parts to it. One made out of bone, the bulk of the kli is made out of bone, and the mouthpiece is made out of mateches. Whenever we have a kli made of two elements, then we have to decide what is the ikar oisa hamasa. What's the main part? What's doing the actual function of this kli? And Chazal are being conveyed that it's the mouthpiece which is the kaveya, and therefore, even though the keren overall is a keren peshuta and is not able to be mekabel tumah because it's a kli etzem without a base kibble, because of the mitzupis which is made out of mateches, and that's the ikar, it gives the whole kli a shem mateches. And not only when it's connected, even if the mitzupis by itself, that's the ikar of the kli, and that's called the kli mateches, and therefore it's mekabel tumah because of the kli mateches. What about the other side of the keren, the wide side? That's called the kav shalot, the next part of the Mishnah. Here we have a machlokes. Rabbi Tarfon mitami. Rabbi Tarfon says it's as much ikar oisa hamaseh as the mitzupis. So if either the mitzupis is made out of metal or the kav shalot, the wide bit, is made out of metal, it gives the whole keli a shame of kli matches, or each bit by itself is called the ikar kli and is mekabel tumah. The chavim matarim, they say the kav is not the ikar, it's only the mitzupis, and therefore if the kav is made out of mateches, the whole thing is considered to be a kli etzem, and because we're talking about the kli etzem pashut, it's tor. Uvishas chiburon hakol tom. However, when it's all stuck together, it doesn't make a difference whether it's the mitzupis or the kav. When it's all connected, then hakol tome, because now everything is, in this case, the chachamim amoida, that the kav, when it's connected to the rest, is important enough to render the whole thing a kli mateches. However, by itself, it's not as important as the mitzupis, and therefore by itself is not mekabel tumah. And the Mishnah carries on kiyotze boy. The kiyotze boy here in the Mishnah is, we're trying to compare, we had a keli before which was half bone, half mateches. And we went according to the Ikka Ois HaMaaseh. Now we have a kli which is completely mateches, a menorah, a candelabra, all made out of metal, but it comes apart into bits. So again, we have to decide which bit is the Ikka Ois HaMaaseh and which is the tofel. The nafkamina is that the Ikka Ois HaMaaseh will be mekabel tumah if it is by itself. And the Mishnah says, Knei menorah tahirin. The branches of the menorah on the side are not the Ikka, and therefore by themselves on atar because they do not have a shame b'fnei atzmai. However, haperach v'habosis tameim. The perach, the top of the candelabra, has the flat bit at the top on which one puts the lamps, the oil and the wicks. That's called a perach. That's called an Ikka Ois HaMaaseh. Or the bosses, the base on which the whole menorah stands, is called an Ikka Ois HaMaaseh. And therefore, by themselves, they are tameim. And of course, when the whole thing is put together, hakol tomei, everything is tomei because it's all one kli. And that's the end of Mishnah Zayin.